So Buddha had to perform miracles. He performed miracles quite a number of times actually, but he usually he doesn't do that.
I wonder sometimes because there's a lot of stories about the um, and usually the miracles seem to come as an awakening, like the story of the woman that had a son that she couldn't let go of. She wanted him to,
Yeah.
And then he gave her the gift. The miracle she got from him was a task to go
Yes,
to
yes.
the village to find, a seed from a house, right?
Ashes, yeah.
And so then her miracle was that
her mind was transformed.
Yeah,
and that's probably the biggest thing
Yes.
that happens, right?
Yes, I think he Buddha enlightened her mind by letting her do the study, of life, impermanence of our life. So she went around to look for the ashes, of the dead in any family where there is no death in the family. So every door she knocked, she found that everybody have their own stories about family member being dead. So she realized that she developed the realization that we all have to die. It's not a matter of age or you know time. It's just everybody has to die. So that kind of enlightened her mind and helped her realize that that's what happened to her child, and that can happen to anybody or everybody. So that kind of calmed her mind. Otherwise, she went crazy. We have a lot of stories about Buddha stories actually, but I usually don't talk much for that because storytelling is also difficult, and even in saying in English, and also it it takes a lot of time. Yeah, it takes quite a bit of time as well. And the main thing is philosophy. I believe we believe. Main thing that we need to know is the philosophy. The path. So I try my best to spend the time that we have teaching the path, method. That's what I thought is the best thing we can do. Of course, sometimes maybe miracle stories may be beneficial to some people, you know. But it is not seen as the most important thing. Even flying, if somebody can fly, it doesn't mean anything. Of course, he can fly, it's a wonderful thing, but it won't really help us.
Right.
Even though birds can fly, but they fly and they die. So what? Even if we fly, we can fly. What? We cannot live in the air forever. We have to come down. We cannot fly all the time. We have to die one day. So that's the problem. A lot of even if you look at Hindu Buddhist practitioners, they have big yogis or sadhus who have practiced meditation. They have developed quite a bit of power as well. And even as Buddhist masters, and they had developed a lot of power as well through the meditation. But and also some Tibetan masters, Milarepa, Naropa, Telupa, and some others developed. They showed quite a bit of power as well, miracle powers. But that was not even through certain tantric rituals. You can develop some powers as well, but those are not seen as ultimate goal of Buddhist practice. And this is not seen as ultimate solution for all the problems. So that back in Tibet, people went crazy about practicing tantra, expecting it can help them develop some power, even to hurt people, deceive people's mind, and make them go crazy, and make them do whatever you want them to do, things like that. And it was banned because people use that power to gain their own interest. And defeat other people and hurt other people those they don't like. And this is not Buddha's teaching. Buddha's teaching is always to help other people, to enlighten people, to help people from, or every being from suffering, free from suffering. So that's So of course, I guess sometime in this world you need that. People like to see that. That's important. Understand?
What do they do in Tibet with to celebrate the Day of Miracles?
We say a lot of prayers,
Uh-huh.
and there's a teaching and special ceremonies are performed. And also Tibetans will have dancing and singing as well, like a happy occasion.
Probably food, huh?
Yes, of course. Food is the main thing.
Party?
More, but yeah, of course, special. But during the spiritual gathering and what do you call it, ceremony, we don't have meat, so it's not more rich. But at least we have some very good food, some very very not. I don't think you would say it's very healthy with a lot of butter and salt. A lot of butter, a lot of butter. And very oily and greasy food, but tastes good.
Yeah.
Tastes good. Tastes wonderful. You would want to eat all the time. You can- yeah. Food is the main important thing, of course. Everybody enjoys food. All right. We should start, I think. We have some people.
How many we have online?
Hmm?
Many online?
Yeah, I see some people, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people.
That's right.
8, 9,
Yeah.
12. You got 12 students today.
Not
It's like a normal day.
Yeah. That's a good number.
Yeah. All right, we will say our short prayers. Talking about food, the monks love to eat food.
Bags of food. Hard to let go of that.
They eat a lot. Tell you that. I guess most of the monks, they are young, in their 20s, 30s, 40s, even 15, they eat a lot. So if you go to the monastery, you will find a lot of chubby monks.
Ah. Was it always that? It wasn't always that way.
It's always it's like that.
Even when you
For-
were there, they
yeah.
were chubby.
Yes,
Oh.
especially monks coming from Tibet,
Oh.
they come to India, they eat a lot, they become very
Yeah.
chubby.
Hmm.
Even we have elderly monks, those who escaped in 59,
Mhm.
they also have become very chubby, most of them.
Mhm.
Some by their nature, by their body nature or something, they remain skinny.
Yeah.
But most of them are chubby, they eat
Right.
quite a bit.
Ling
Yeah, Rinpoche is very chubby. Tijan Rinpoche is not so
Yeah,
chubby.
Krishna was not. at
Then
all.
we have many other, even famous monk like very Damaluchi Rinpoche, very famous, very scholar, highly respected by all the monks of the different monastery. Very chubby.
Yeah, interesting.
We have some others, our teachers at the time. Most of them are very chubby. It has to do with, because they sit all day.
Yeah.
They sit in their room, especially our teachers. They sit in their room and they read book all the time, every day. So they get no exercise,
Yeah.
and we don't have any health education.
Yeah.
So just eat and sit there and then become fat.
Well, you're lucky. You have one of those bodies or systems. You actually don't become chubby.
Yeah, yes. My belly gets comes out, caught out. I have to exercise, otherwise
We all have that.
it just
Okay.
comes out like a pregnant woman or something. Just
Well,
I have to do kind of like a stomach exercise. I do that, otherwise it comes back. But in general, I don't get much chubby in general. But if I sleep good, then my face gets full and everything. So lately I'm sleeping a lot, so my face is getting bigger. Because this text, I have nothing much to study, which seems to be very simple, and I don't really have to read much. Anyway, so it has to do with, because we have lived a very poor life, I think, especially like my generation, very poor. Parents, they escaped from Tibet and were lived very poor for years. For 10, 20 years, lived very, very poor. Almost have hardly enough nutritious food at all. So I guess that's why I was used to be very hungry when I was in the monastery. I have to sit with, when we have prayer for all day, like a breakfast, lunch, dinner, and we have to sit and pray, and then we get food served and lunch served. So I always prefer to sit nearby behind the elderly monks. They cannot eat much, and we get a big bread for lunch and tea. So I hope that they are expecting they cannot eat everything. So they will, hey, you want to eat something?
Yeah.
You are full? No, sir. Okay. They just give you at the side,
Yeah.
and then they just eat. Because I finish my food and then I eat their food. So, because very poor and no other food, we don't have any other food. So that's the only food we have, whatever we get from the main kitchen,
Yeah.
So no money to go out and buy food. So I guess this has to do with that too as well.
Yeah.
And at the home, we're very poor. At the monastery, we're very poor. So, but today, monks are very lucky. They have good food, good place to live. Everything is totally changed, big change. They are eating healthy. From today, we talk about all the health, and education, everything. You eat this, you don't eat. When we were there, it's not about whether or not you get to eat food or not. It's about that.
Right.
It's not about you can eat this, you should eat. There's no
Whatever you
choice.
can.
Whatever you get,
Yeah.
get to eat food. That's a blessing.
Yeah.
We also get the food like oatmeal thing.
Yeah.
Wheat from America, and also oil from the oil tank from like a box
Mhm.
metal.
Mhm.
Come from US too. We use that, and that wheat was we often find the bugs in that, because it's sit there for too long. I think.
Yeah.
So when we make that soup and eat, so I guess that has to do with that too. Anyway, so so we have been. Oh, good morning to everybody. Sorry. and hope everybody's doing fine. And we have been studying the text known as Gyaltse Gyaltse Laglen Sodima. That means Gyaltse means Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva is one who dedicates his or her life serving and benefiting all others and practice Bodhisattva path. It's called Bodhisattva, or practice Mahayana teaching is called Bodhisattva. Gyaltse means yeah, Bodhisattva. And Lagle means practice, Bodhisattva practice, and Sodhi means 37. Sodhin, 37. So Bodhisattva practice, 37 Bodhisattva practice. You can say that. They put into 37 different types of practice. It is a very summary. Of course, they have so many, but it's very summary. So far we have been studying the explanation of these 37 verses, explanation spoken by, taught by His Holiness Dalai Lama. And now I'm going to change, I'm going to go by this explanation. It's a little bit shorter. Other one is this one. So far we have covered, but it's taking long time. It's not going to finish it. But so far we have finished half of it, I think. This book is quite thick. So we have finished so far half of it. So, yeah, finished up to here. Only this much page we have finished last class. So, and we have a little more than half. So I don't think we can, if you go by this one, we cannot finish. So if I go by this one, it seems like it's only has more, little bit of summary explanation. So we can do that. Before I start going explaining this one, I will go short, what do you call the review of the each verses that we have covered so far, just briefly, that way you know. And the main, otherwise, you go through the explanation in detail, but you lose the main point. So first verse is talking about that. So far we have covered 6 to 7 verses, I think. Anyway, so first verses is talking about author, whose name is Gyaltse Tongme Sangpo. He pays his homage to the Buddha of Compassion and his Guru by saying that Buddha of Compassion and his Gurus have developed, you can say have developed realization of you can say they have developed the wisdom, understanding ultimate truth and conventional truth. You can say that this is one way of understanding the meaning of the first verse. And you can also say they have developed the realization of the path, composite of method aspect and wisdom aspect as well. And also you can say they practice, wisdom, understanding emptiness or ultimate truth. And you can say they practice method aspect because they practice compassion, the great compassion and loving kindness towards all beings. So because of having this wisdom, insight, realization, they are worthy of his respect and homage. That's why author is paying, before you start talking about his teaching, he pays his homage. He pays homage to Buddha of Compassion mainly, and to his Guru. And also Buddha of Compassion, he pays homage to Buddha of Compassion because Buddha of Compassion is considered as a manifestation of the compassion of all the enlightened beings. So that's why his Buddha of Compassion is known as Buddha of Compassion. we call it Chenre. If you look at the Buddha of Compassion statue, eyes like that, he's always looking, his eyes widely open. And that meant to say that he's always watching the living beings, see what he can do and how he can help, out of concern, out of care, out of love, out of compassion. Just like a mother, some mother, they look at their baby with they have a special eye, the way they look at their child, with so much love and, affection, that kind of thing. And of course, some fathers do too. When you love somebody, you have a different way of looking at that person, don't you think? When you don't love, you have different way of looking at. So it's an expression, No, so that's why author is saying that you have this wisdom and insight, develop realization to the path, uh, on this path composite of method aspect, wisdom aspect. The method means wisdom, understanding emptiness, ultimate truth, and method aspect means method, compassion, loving kindness, and altruism. And he's saying, I pay homage to Buddha of compassion, his guru. Uh, talk to all the time. As a Buddhist practitioner, we have to have that kind of respect and faith in the in towards our refuge, such as Buddha of compassion, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and so forth. So takto, you have to remember them. They are your role model. They are your role model. You have to look at their, think of them and admire them and have faith in them and wish them that we may one day become like them. So that kind of thing. So this is first was briefly speaking, and just to remind you. And then second one is pende junior so be sangen tambi tamju dule jung de teani de la ne shiro don jazalan nam la le shabr cha. That means now second is the he's saying now he's talking before he, this is in January called somber tamcha means pledging to compose the text. He pledges that he would compose this text. We could somber tamcha. I don't remember the exact English translation. So he's pledging that he would compose this text. And while in this words, he is saying that since this text is talking about the teaching of the Mahayana path or Bodhisattva path, which which by practicing, you can achieve enlightenment. So enlightenment, you can, or you can become Buddha. So becoming Buddha is our goal of practicing this path or teaching. And that can happen. You can become Buddha, become enlightened, you can become enlightened if you practice the Dharma. And there are many Dharma, many different levels of Dharma. But of course, overall, you have to, when we talk about Buddhist teaching, we say common path and uncommon path. You have to remember this term, common path. When we are saying common path, that means we are common, but we are mainly referring to the teaching practiced by Theravada school, Pali tradition. They are we call common path, because it is also practiced by Mahayana practitioners. That's what we refer it to as a common path. And that includes the path that can help us attain fortunate rebirth in our lifetimes also. And when we say uncommon path, that we are referring to the teaching or path practiced by Mahayana practitioner, bodhisattvas. That is, bodhisattva path, uncommon path, because it is not being practiced by a practitioner of the Theravada tradition. So this one is uncommon, and it's unique. So so goal is to attain enlightenment. Since we are studying this in order to practice it to attain enlightenment, so you not becoming enlightened, you have to practice, study, and understand and practice the path practiced by Mahayana practitioner or Bodhisattva path. So the Buddha, through this line, you have to understand the Buddha has become Buddha not because somebody else God made him become Buddha, or he has not been Buddha from the beginningless lifetime. What he's saying is that he has become Buddha by practicing the path. That's something that you have to understand. There's the one lesson we have to learn. Of course, Christopher and Kobita and so forth, they understand that, but those who are new, I'm just saying that. And by practicing the path practiced by Bodhisattva or Mahayana practitioner. So since so in order to practice that path, Bodhisattva path or Mahayana path, you have to practice. In order to be able to practice it, you have to understand the practice. To be able to understand it, you have to study, and then you have to contemplate, and then you have to meditate on the path. So that's why he's so in order to help you understand, he's composing this text. In order to understand the path, he's saying author is composing this text. That's what he's saying. So when since we have to practice path, practice the mind of path or Bodhisattva path, and then you can say when is the best time to practice this path. Then it is say, of course we have to the dog. I mean the trees and mountains cannot practice. It has to be a living being, right? A living being can practice the path, not a non-living being. So and when we talk about living being, according to Buddhist teaching, there are many different living beings, animal beings in the hell realm, hungry ghost realm, and animal realm, and God realm, demigod realm, and form realm, form beings in the form realm, formless realm. There are many different levels of being. So the author is saying, well, even Buddhist, this Tajun precious human rebirth is explained as the most precious human rebirth in so many different texts by so many different most of the masters. You will find this explanation even the sutra, tantra, even the or by Indian texts authored by Indian masters as well. They always talk about because this is because because in order for us to understand that life that we have is very precious, very valuable, something that you cannot waste, or take it for granted. That's why they always say it's rare and difficult to obtain and so forth. Then they want us to understand that. That's why you use this life as best as you can to make the best out of it. That's how you say. Yeah. so the author is saying Buddhist teaching said that this precious human rebirth endowed with eight leisures and 10 endowment they talk about, meaning there you have all the necessary facilitating factors, and you have all the opportunities that were by which you can study and practice Dharma. There are so many things to say, but I don't want to say it much. uh, so you have this. When you have this is the time that you have to study and practice Dharma, practice the Bodhisattva path. That's it. During this time, lifetime, the most important life opportunity that you have. So you have to practice this time. You don't postpone it, postpone it at all. There is a when you practice Dharma, you can practice Dharma for yourself, for your family, and for your next life, and for even for the liberation and so forth. But here saying you have to practice for the enlightenment. You have to practice the path that can help you attain enlightenment and help others attain enlightenment. Yourself and others to be free from the ocean of samsara or vicious cycle, and attain enlightenment. You have to practice the path in order to free yourself and free others from this suffering of the vicious cycle and attain enlightenment. and and how you have to make effort day and night. That's no day and night doesn't mean that you don't sleep and practice. Of course, you have to sleep. We all have to sleep, and but you, whenever you find time, whenever you can make some time, you have to make some time. Whenever you can, you have to spend that time to study and practice Dharma. And yes, this is what Bodhisattva does. You have to study it and contemplate it and meditate on it. So this is what Bodhisattva does. So second verse, then third verse. Now, when we talk of practicing Dharma, this is during this lifetime we have practiced Dharma. Then, when you practice Dharma, practice Dharma means what? Practicing Dharma means, simply put, if we make it simple, you have to get it from the cause of suffering. Basically speaking, cause of suffering, such as mainly the hatred and attachment and ignorance. So as a beginner, you have trouble, difficulty, overcoming, as well as since you would have a difficulty overcoming these emotions. They are so strong and so habituated, so yeah, so difficult to overcome. That's why what best thing you can do is you can avoid the trigger that can trigger this emotion. So so trigger here. There's a payipon means payipon. Yes, payipon means your hometown. But that also does not mean that is literally does not always. It literal meaning. But the underlying meaning means you have to, as a beginner, you have to avoid any trigger that can trigger the strong emotions such as attachment, hatred, and ignorance. So you have to stay away from these things. Anybody causing you develop this emotion, attachment, hatred, and ignorance, you stay away from them as a beginner. That's the best thing you can do. That's what Paibon. This is what Bodhisattva does. Paibon, just does it make sense?
Yeah.
That's the best thing we can do as a beginner. Well, unless you are, advanced practitioner, then of course you can expose yourself to all the triggers, and then you can still, uh, uh, you can still practice the Dharma. You can, it won't, the, the triggers cannot trigger the negative emotion. You can still remain as a practitioner and practice your teaching. Although there are triggers, they cannot affect you. They cannot make you develop negative emotion. So, when we say appointment, means in general, our attachment towards such as a lot of things. That okay, I don't need to say that. Usually, our attachment to someone we love, but here we don't say the chudriya means here the way they're saying is. We tend to develop strong emotion attachment to someone we love and family and so forth. It doesn't mean that we don't love them, we don't care them, we don't show love them. Of course we love them, we care them, we have to do anything we can for their well-being and so forth, but not out of strong attachment. That's the point you have to remember. Otherwise, reading this, what they're talking about. Are they saying that we cannot love them, we cannot care for them? That's not what they mean. Not out of attachment in the sense that they are the ultimate source of your happiness. It's the end of the world and so forth. It's not like that. It's not. You can, of course, our goal is at the same time. You have to remember our goal is to be kind to everybody. Everybody. Of course, that means why not to your loved one? Or family. Relative, friends. Of course, you have to love them and care for them. Do the best you can to make them happy and have them free from suffering. But not out of attached, like holding. Some people are so become out of so attachment, they become, what do you call this? It's I don't know how to. they they become so controlling on kind of the not that kind of thing you should be doing. And also Shidang Shidang method, but as a Buddhist, you just you have to you have to love and be kind to everybody. You cannot develop hatred and anger towards anybody. So if you cannot do that, you better stay away from them. You don't like somebody, you cannot be nice to that person. You get angry immediately as soon as you see that person. Then it's better you stay away from them. That's why you don't have to. You don't lose your control and you get mad and you fight and all that. So you don't have to do that. But if you are, advanced practitioners, you can see them, meet them, be nice to them, although they have done something bad to you or wrong to you, but you still, see them, talk to them, and help them. If you can, that's the highest practitioner. This is what they say. So then, fourth verse is for the fifth one. When you more get now maybe get it. So if you means five hometown, all the triggers of trigger that can trigger attachment, hatred, ignorance. If you stay away from them, if you give up those things, those places, those of triggers, then your attachment, anger, hatred, they will decrease. They will, they will reduce. They will be reduced. They will be decreased. This is very simple, right? We can see that if you are by yourself, you can. There's nobody bothering you. You can be act like an enlightened man, sit like a really holy being. You can, because nobody is bothering you. Nobody is challenging your emotion or anger, hatred. So, but when that happens for a long time, and it definitely kind of goes down. Like the water remains very still, everything becomes clear. Anger and all this goes down all the way in the deep, but it's not eliminated unless you have applied the antidote. but it's all the way go down. Otherwise, it's shaken, it goes out. Similarly, when you are meeting with the triggers of that can trigger your attachment, anger, Your mind is being shaken. And these are attachment and angers are being shaken, so they pop up, and then they can cause you develop. They can increase and then make you commit negative karma. So. So and then that's why, and also if you stay from trigger, you have no distraction. Some a lot of people like to have distraction. They want, sometimes they need distraction, otherwise they go crazy. We need some distraction to to make ourselves busy. Because people cannot stay still. They have to find something to do. Otherwise, they are so much used to be busy, used to stay busy. And in the West, staying busy is seen as important. You are doing well. If you're not busy, you're not doing so well. So, that kind of thing, because people like to feel something. So if you have no distraction, you are positive quality. It serves as a uh, um, trigger to improve your positive qualities, and improve yourself, improve your mental qualities, and easier for you to continue your practice without being disturbed, and so forth. And the Ripata also, when you are alone, also if you live on a mountain, like Vembatemba. Here the Vembatemba means living in an isolated place. Isolated place. No, Vembatemba. Vembatemba just it is very important. Because in the past, all the enlightened being of the past, all the Mahayogis, Yoginis, Siddhis, they call Siddhis, means who have attained developed realization and who have attained certain powers through meditation by staying alone, by isolating themselves from society. That's how they managed to develop this power. You want to stay busy and do all sort of things, and then you want at the same time you want to have develop these things. That's not going to happen. And develop realization is very difficult. You are even, but it is not easy. Staying to be able to go in the isolated remote area and live by yourself is very difficult, challenging. So you have to have a lot of resource to stay there and do right thinking, knowledge, wisdom, to think about. Otherwise, if you don't have nothing, you go there, you live there by yourself, then you can go crazy, because we are social animal. So we need always dependent, have somebody to talk and say things, show love, and loved by others, and you have to have someone to love. These all a lot of things required, don't you think? We need so much to be happy. We have to have so many things to have. Actually, as a Buddhist practitioner, you don't need so many things. You need happiness is to be found within ourselves. But as a human being, we have to find, people cherishing you, people admiring you, people applauding you, people saying, "Oh, you did the wonderful thing," you are the greatest thing. We need all these things to be happy. Otherwise, we cannot be happy. If we don't get these things, we get sad and unhappy. As a practitioner, when you get advanced practitioner, become advanced practitioner, you don't need all of them. These are to be, these are seen as object of abandonment. This becomes the source of your attachment. This becomes the trigger for your attachment. This becomes the cause of your continuous vicious cycle. It is actually becomes, but at the same time, if you are able to do good things, if you don't really believe in this enlightenment and liberation, then it's better. You live in society, do social working. There are a lot of things you can do. Help people find food, shelter, clothing, education. So many types of education, so many ways to serve people and benefit people. But of course, you gain merit. That's whether you're Buddhist or not. But I totally believe they get merit by helping other people. Definitely. But when you're talking about enlightenment, it's a different thing. Your goal is different. So for that, this alone would not help enlightenment. That requires to develop high level wisdom and high level concentration. That requires isolation. That requires a lot of thinking and meditation. So, and then if you stay in remote and isolation, then your mind is more. You will be able to what do you call it? Have more focused mind and concentration. Your concentration will increase, and you will be able to do meditation much more better. That's why bodhisattvas, they like to still live in isolation, a remote area. And then next one, fifth, sixth one, I think you didn't talk about Zashi also test. That this is the last one. Oh, yeah, and then next problem is attachment. You know, we are so attached to ourselves. You know, then when we are attached to ourselves, we are attached to our property, our our life, our health. You know, we are so attached to it. Of course, they are both way of saying. You can see that sometimes we say, "Oh, body is not to be attached. Life is not to be attached. You know, it is to be. We have to be detached and all these things." But at the same time, you can also find saying it is important and cherishable. Well, seem like contradiction, but you have to.
Conventional and ultimate.
Maybe kind of like that. But at the same time, you have to know. I think not not attached, but
Yeah.
the base not attached. But you have to cherish, but not at the same time. Back in your head, you have to know all these things are impermanent. All that you are getting, name, fame, position, wealth, admiration, and people applauding you. These are very temporary. They can do today, they may not do you next day. They may hate you next day. So this thing always changes, no? So so cannot be totally reliable. That's what they say. Of course, these things makes you happy at the time, but that want to last. They won't give you lasting happiness. Then you will end up more sad one day. So even if most famous people become sad, they go down. Name and fame always is at the time. He was famous before
Yeah,
before
right,
to
right.
position in the position it was before, no longer today. There is somebody else there.
Happens all the
It
time.
always changes. It's always when you have all these things, when you lose things, then you feel down. Kind of very down. But so as a practitioner, we always say sitting on the floor is the best place to sit.
Is he gonna go up?
No, there is no way down.
There's no further
No,
depth.
there is no further down. It's very
That's
stable.
good, that's
Your
good.
mind remains stable. It's not up and down. It's not. So Buddhism is not talking about up and down. But I see in the people in general, their mind is always up and down. Sometimes so happy, they so
Yeah.
get so overly happy. Sometimes overly sad, overly mad, and go crazy. This is not what we are taught and what we are encouraged to do. We are encouraged to do stay cool, stay calm, stay stable, and be the same person like every day. Every day you are same person, not changing. Today you are happy, the next day you don't like it. Not this kind of thing. You are supposed to remain same as every day, like you are seeing same person. That's how we should, especially as a close friend and good friend, and towards everybody actually. What I mean? So anyway, so here they said the Lord, and then with since we cherish and attach so much, cherishing and attachment may be a little different. So there is a subtle difference that they explain. So said the Lord, so since we have so much attachment to us, we have in order to keep it happy and wealthy, health, and so forth. We have to have a lot of things, wealth, house, place, a lot of things, and also we need people who loves us, who cares about us. We need someone to love and care. If we don't have, we feel bored, we feel sad. We feel left out. So we feel ignored. Because that's why scientists call it also as a social animal. I think. And even in Buddhist teaching, we are referred to as a sentient. Sentient means animal.
What does it?
Yeah, sentient. Sentient means sentient in Tibetan language. When you say in the Buddhist teaching, we are referred to as a sentient. Magin sentient means animal.
Huh?
But in our ordinary language, when you say you are sentient, that means you are animal.
Ah,
Yeah, but Buddhist language, sentient refers to all of us. We all are animal. So in the social scientist language is very perfect. They're saying you're a social animal. It's true. And and also as an ordinary being, we are dependent on each other. But when these are talking about a little bit of people who want to get out of this group, this this want to just be different, want to be chose a different path. But as ordinary people, it's better to go with society. As I hear that you don't go with society, what you call trend and trade.
Trend.
Trend. You left out and you cannot survive. You will die soon or something. You have to go along with the flow. Flow, right? This is a flow. And if you don't go, then you will left out. You will be sad. You will be lonely. So, but but some people they choose different path and they want to change the world direction of the world. It is only those people like Mahatma Gandhi and Buddha. Very few people can do that. How many people we have who have done this? Very few.
Dalai Lama.
Like Dalai Lama is showing different path. Very few people have done that. Very few people have. Mother Teresa, who have done that. How many millions of billions of people we have? So very few people who can do that. Very few people. So it's not easy. We have it been how many 3,000 something years. Buddha only comes in many lifetime, many centuries. So it is, of course, these are very difficult. It's not easy, but this is what Bodhisattva does. So what we as a Buddhist practitioner, we just wish. I myself wish and pray that I can follow their footsteps and I can improve step by step, baby step every day, and gradually one day I can be like them. That kind of goal, the aspiration is to be developed and maintained as a practitioner. And also have to have sense of belief that we can do that, and this is our goal. Otherwise, if you look around people what they're doing, then you will know, even you may lose faith. Why don't I go with the flow? It's better and happy. And this is what most people think. We can easily get distracted. So these are because everything is, it's to be left behind. Someone you love is to be left behind, and all the wealth that you have, someone you love, cherish so much. You have done everything you can. He leaves you one day. You have to leave them, or they will leave you. Or you have to leave them, or they will leave you. Or wealth, you have to leave them, or they can be taken away from you as well. And then also you have to live even your body. So so that doesn't say what the point is. For me, the point here we have to understand is this: these are all impermanent. Impermanent is these are not to be seen as the ultimate source of our happiness. Ultimate source of happiness is to be found within ourselves through our own positive transformation that we can make in ourselves by transforming our thinking, by transforming our view. Transforming our behavior and so forth, and changing our goal and method, way of living and so forth. Now today I think the next one. Countdown. This is now so far I have talked about this one. Countdown. This is the 7 words. How many words I am thinking? Some. We have covered only 6 words.
Yeah.
So now here saying this is 7 words, I think, including the first homage and the worship. 7 words.
In the actual 37 practices, it's the 5th.
Okay, this is 5th. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, okay. Let's say
practices
5th. Yeah, let's say 5th. Countdown to 2 pages. So he's saying that you have to stay away from earlier. They say stay away from all the triggers, right? Triggers, attachment, lose, don't attach to this life. So here they're saying don't. If as a practitioner, you don't. This is true with not as even as a practitioner, as an ordinary being. You want to be a good person, you don't associate with the bad people, people who steal, who rob, who lies, left and right, who deceive people, who hurt people, who cause trouble, who cause disharmony. You don't want to associate with those people. If you do, you get the habit. For us, since we are very ordinary, we are so habituated with the doing bad thing and committing negative harm. We become easily go down. We can get those habits very easily. But on the vice versa, it's very difficult for us to develop good habit. Very difficult to become a good person. We become bad person very fast. But we in order to become a good person, it takes forever.
Yeah, it's like trying to eat healthy versus like
Yeah.
cheeseburgers and fries.
Or Girl Scout cookies.
Yes, or
Or cream-filled donuts.
Yes, whatever your vice is in terms of food, it's the same concept.
So easy to go to.
It's the season, isn't it?
So doing bad thing is very easy, but doing good thing is very difficult, right? So,
Yeah.
so this honest. So we get bad habit very easy, but good habit very difficult. Good habit we have to force ourselves, reminded to be reminded all the time. So it's not easy, of course. Becoming a Buddha, becoming even a good person is very difficult. Some people they take forever to change. They
And it's
change
just
only.
from habit patterns of
Is a habit, of
eons,
course, yeah,
right?
yeah, of course. That's
Yeah.
eons. We are saying that eons. That's what this is. It's we are saying about we are talking about this because but we are so much habituated with the negative karma, negative emotion. We have been habituated with this thing for the many beginningless lifetime. That's what Buddhists say, according to Buddhist teaching. And even if this seems to be quite true, I think. So, so if you want to stay away from somebody who is causing you, who is triggering to develop your negative emotions such as hatred and attachment and ignorance, to some pages, you have to stay away from those people. And if you do that, if you associate with those people who triggers your negative emotions such as attachment, hatred, ignorance, jealousy, lying, this thing, who will make you develop all these bad habits, make you do all these bad things, and then what happens? You will not be able to study and contemplate and meditate on the path, because if you as a Buddhist, as a follower of this teaching, your goal is to become enlightened. So you want to study the Buddhist path, Buddhist other path. For that you need to study it, contemplate, meditate. If you at the same time you associate with those people, you cannot do that. This will go down. If you have been doing all this, but then suddenly you meet some people, hey, this is not, it's not true. They just made it up. It's not possible. It's not. They just, then you may lose your faith, and then you may become like them and stop doing all these things, this kind of thing. So this is an obstacle. Something, and also you will not, you will decrease the person by associating with people like that who does not believe in great compassion, loving kindness, who does not believe in helping other people, benefiting other people, who always believe in themselves, always me, and then you become like that too. Your love and compassion that you have been trying to develop will go down. They will, whatever you have developed, they will go down. Instead of developing, increasing, they will go down. This kind of bad habit. Tongue means bad company, bad habit are to be avoided. But at the same time, you have to remember, as a Buddhist practice, you don't hate them, you don't dislike them, you don't have to even criticize them, but you stay away from them. If you have to meet them or see them, you don't listen to them, you don't believe them, you don't follow their their way of living, their way of behaving, their way of thinking, their way of talking. You don't follow those things. You don't look after those. You stay steady and continue focus on your path. If you do, otherwise, if you follow them, then you will become like them. Angry. Some people fight. You have to fight. Why not? We have to fight. Why you lose? You have to fight with them. Get everything you want from them. Even hurt them and lie them. Do all sort of things. People can do all sort of things to meet their interest. And for their fulfillment, self fulfillment. They are ready to do. A lot of people, you can see them. They are so aggressive. What they want to do, anything they can to get what they want. You, as a practitioner, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to be somebody who let others have it. It's okay. Let them have it. If you don't have it, let them have. Make them be happy. This is a true practitioner. But it's difficult. But this is how we are supposed to be doing. If you believe in Buddhism path, you let others have it. You don't have it. That's okay. Be happy with what others have it. It is difficult, but it is what we are supposed to be doing. And then, and then develop our, continue our study and contemplation and meditation on the path, and continue developing our compassion and loving kindness and so forth, in order to succeed in the Bodhisattva path. So in order to do that, you have to stay away from bad people. That's what Bodhisattva does. But you don't hate them, you don't have to, dislike them or fight with them, anything like that. So, okay, now then, this is my explanation, but here Dalai Lama is saying, Temple denegation is so, so he's not. But this is what he's saying, same thing, I think. I didn't know. So he's talking about George Bush, talking about George Bush. Yeah, he's a little bit critical. He's very close friend to Dalai Lama. Has become very close to George Bush. He says that he's going to say he's a very good person. You know, he's very honest, straightforward, you know, and very good person. This is not different. Here it's saying that, oh, this is what it's saying that. This is one of the U.S. president in his speech. He was saying that the kids in the U.S. and the kids in the China, you know, when they compared their knowledge in the school, in the school grade and all that, China's student in China has done much better than the students studying in the West. Why? Because students studying in the West have been spending most of their time playing video games, you know, watching videos and so forth. They have wasted their, they have got so much distraction in doing these things. Therefore, the students in China, they have more discipline and, you know, focus more on the study. That's why they happen to have a better grade and, you know, have become better educated. You know?
That's
So
the
the,
cultural piece. Cultural.
yeah,
That's
so
a whole other
yeah.
conversation.
So this is what he's saying is, I guess this he's only saying this is also like a, you know, it's like a tongue means not tongue. Bad people does not necessarily mean living being. Even the bad habits, you know, things that we are doing, something meaningless
That we
activities.
don't even know is bad.
Meaningless activity.
Yeah.
That's why all the point here, what he's saying is don't associate with bad people because they can do bad. You get their bad habit and waste your time. You know. Also, don't spend your precious time doing meaningless activities. In activities that can bring you temporary happiness. You know, not really. You know, not really important at the end of the day. You know? It's just, you know, waste of time. So do something that is really concrete that can bring concrete positive result, you know. That kind of thing. So, you know, wasting time with so many other meaningless activity is waste of time. Make that spend your, as we have studied earlier in Tajun, important of making this precious lifetime, you know, the best out of it. You know. So that's why we're saying every time most you make sure you spend most of your time studying and practicing the path. That's what we're saying. And as a student, you have to make your best effort in studying, not watching, playing video game and watching videos. You know? And also, he is also saying in these lines, they get fight video, what do you call game, you know, playing,
Video game.
fighting, you know, shooting.
Oh, yeah.
What do you
War
call it?
videos, yeah.
War videos, yeah, they've been there, and they it becomes so killing, shooting is like a normal thing.
Right.
They don't see it, and then they out of not knowing it can cause big problem. They play with the real, you know, weapon, and then it can shoot people. So it happened quite a number of times in the last few 10 years. So we have quite a number of
Big
people.
increase, yeah.
We had quite a number of people, you know, coming in this and from nowhere, show up in the crowd and shoot, you know, just out of hatred, you know. Just killing means nothing for it. Just hated for whom? I don't know. They just go crazy and they just kill people, for innocent people. They have done nothing to them. They just get mad and they just kill people. It's very scary, right? So this thing, because their mind has gone crazy. So see, if we become poor, if we are smart, healthy, we can work and make money, and, you know, we can find our food and shelter. But if our mind go crazy, nothing can do anything. So keeping our mind in good shape seems to be a very, very important thing. Even not to mention liberation, enlightenment, and so forth. Even just for this life, for the happiness of this life. Okay. So, okay. Maybe I should just, if I talk about this, it's going to take time. No, these are same thing he's saying. So, okay, let's go to the next one. If you have any, if you want to say anything about it, tell me. If anybody want to Zoom, you have any question or anything you want to say?
Lama, this is Tracy.
Oh, yeah.
I just had a question with regards to the terminology, the three poisons.
Yes.
What are the three poisons? I mean, what is it actually referencing there when it says the three poisons?
Well, three poison means is same thing: attachment, hatred, ignorance.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. And again, of course, this is mainly it just make it very simple, but there are so many other emotion, wrong thinking and wrong view and negative behavior. You can get all sort of bad things from bad people. They can encourage you to steal. Steal. Why not steal? Why not rob bank? Why not rob rich people? Why not go rob the elderly people living by themselves? It is happening. It is happening in India too, and it's happening it happens here. A lot of young people, they have no money, they go crazy, they just rob the elderly people because they cannot protect themselves. They just scared them to death and then just take away everything because they are so hungry for food. And then there are a lot of questions involved in why they have become poor, even those young people, and or they are lazy or they cannot find job. I don't know, there are a lot of things to be discussed. As Rinpoche, it's only said that to as Rinpoche, economic distribution problem. Economic distribution problem.
The distribution.
Yeah, that's why we have so much rich and poor,
Disparity, yeah.
rich and poor disparity. Economic distribution problem. So,
It's
and
huge.
it's a big. That's why poor young people and poor people, they go crazy because they see rich people, they have so much. Why not we have it? Why not we? We have, they haven't studied path like that. They're human being. They just they have a desire. They have a greed and attachment, everything like us, everybody. So when they don't have it, they go crazy. They cannot get it by by doing right thing like everybody does, but then they engage into this kind of activities, killing, stealing, and robbing. So this is what happens. And then next again, now we got nobody has any question. He's talking about some stories in these verses, but he's mentioned the meaning of this in a few lines at the end of that. I found it, but it's the same thing that I've said. The next verse, number 6, right? So this is now, so you're saying now who you want to rely on. You want to, here Shenye means actually teacher, or a spiritual teacher or Dharma teacher, or so you have to really, if you rely on a qualified Dharma teacher or spiritual teacher or master, what happens is, you are all the negative qualities, negative emotions, negative behavior, all the wrong thinking, wrong doing, wrong view will be reduced, will be subdued, will go down, will gradually disappear. And your wisdom, your knowledge, your insight into the reality of things and so forth, and will improve like a waxing moon, waxing moon just goes, because similarly your all the good qualities will be improved, bad qualities will be decreased and so forth. So you become better and better person. And that's why Shinya Tamarangala, so see, your qualified teacher or master is to be cherished, is to be seen as a valuable, and is to be respected and is to be cherished even more than yourself. Actually, it should be cherished more than by yourself. But here, Lu means body. It's your qualified teacher, qualified master is to be cherished even more than yourself or your own body. So that's how Bodhisattva practitioners do. So so also you can say that good friends, be a spiritual friend, as a spiritual friend, which you cherish them. Your spiritual friend at the monastery, we our classmate, and especially our classmate are seen as very important, valuable and cherishable, because we learn together. You are not learning when you are studying together with the classmate. You are not learning only from your teacher. You are learning from your classmate as well, through the debate, through the discussion, through questioning, answering. You learn a lot from them, a lot. So that's why you cherish their, company, and then and yeah, you cherish their company, and always maintain good relationship with them. That's important.
So this verse is not just talking about a guru,
Yeah.
not just a guru, but just a spiritual friend.
Yeah, of
sister.
course. Yeah, yes. My understanding, you can take that as also lesson at the same time.
Yeah.
Anybody who is, anybody, anybody who is teaching you, helping you become better person. Of course, spiritual teacher is to be respected and to be cherished. Of course, there's no question about that. At the same time, anybody who is helping you to develop, to become better person, to become more compassionate, to become more wiser and kinder. So these are to be cherished. These are to be respected. Because through them we become better. We need somebody like a trigger. We always need trigger, influencer or trigger, or somebody, uh, showing us the model example
Good
that help,
examples, yeah.
a good example. Otherwise it makes difference. People like we always like I see in the West, you have a saying, monkey see monkey do. This is not just in the West, it's everywhere, all throughout the world. People like to follow each other. We learn from it. They are doing something, oh, why not I do that? We learn from it. We look at each other all the time. And we see sometimes we look at the good person. The difference is smart people look at the good people, educated people, kind people, wise people. Stupid people look at the wrongdoing people, bad people. So they go on the wrong path and they get into trouble. But smart people, wise people, they follow the right person. They become like them. So it depends on what you want to be. If you are a sports star, you want to follow the sports star, what they're doing, how they exercise, how they practice their sport, and all the business people, your money. If you want to get rich, like a Donald Trump, or you have to see how he has become rich and all that. You have to study all that. That's what people do, right? And then you have to do the same thing. That's what people doing. That's how we look at each other. and also bodybuilders, all that. We are looking at each other all the time. How they build, how somebody has built nicer, how did they do, that's what we do. But if you as a practitioner, our goal is to look at the Buddha, of course, and masters and the spiritual practitioner, high level practitioner. They have to look at their story, how they have done, what they have done, how they have lived, how they think, how they see things, how they behave. Then we take them, their advice, see them as a role, follow them. That's what how we're supposed to do, I think. Even Jazilan is. So here is only an explanation. Anything you want to say? So here this is only saying Kebu Kangshi Tenas Rangshi so so by relying on a teacher, by relying on somebody uh, who can help you eliminate committing negative karma, such as stealing, lying, sexual misconduct, and developing, engaging to idle gossip, all these 10 negative karma. You see, then you have to rely on those persons. And he's saying Tibetans, as I say, since he was teaching this mostly Tibetans in the Bodh Gaya, and he's saying that Tibetans have a good habit. Most of Tibetan doesn't know Buddhism really well, but out of faith, out of the common practice that they get to hear all the time, uh, uh, committing negative karma is a sin. You don't commit negative karma. Digpa, as a Tibetan, they by nature they have developed that personality or nature that even small insect, when somebody's killing or hurting, and somebody else see it, hey, don't do that, don't hurt him, don't kill him. If you do that, you're creating bad karma. That's kind of true. Even kids they know that because this been said all the time. Bad karma is said all the time, even by parents. Even of course the monastery is very common. But you okay, don't create bad karma. It's always even kids they get to hear that, so they also know how to say. They don't know how karma works and stuff, but they at least know hurting somebody is bad karma. So they said, oh don't do. So this is something very very. He always said this honestly. We have to cherish this culture that hurting other people is bad karma. You have no right to hurt any living being, of course, even insects. And even the Tibetan school, children TCV, Tibetan Children Village, they have the what do you call the slogan, being kind to the people, and self-cherishing mind is the source of problem. Cherishing others' well-being is the source of happiness. Big note stick in many places.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
So kids they get that, they see that all the time. So they get that idea.
Right.
So whatever we print in our head when we're a child, it goes deep into our head,
Yeah.
and it makes it. You may not become real like a bodhisattva, but you are much better, and that helps. It's like an indoctrination, like you get. So this thing helps, I think. So so and we also said that somebody is suffering, we always say "Ningje, Ningje." Somebody is poor, suffering, no food, hungry, or sick or dying. We always say "Ningje, Ningje." We say that means Ningje means compassion, compassion. Ningje, Ningje. Oh, Ningje. That means oh, compassion. That's how they say. We just use the same word, compassion. But compassion is not used directly in the other's language. I think you're talking about action. Just they said compassion, compassion. Ningje. Even the mothers would say kids has a little bit trouble and hungry, no food. Oh, Ningje, my son.
Nice.
They always say Ningje, Ningje. They have the in the nature, but so he's always these are the most important culture that we have. He doesn't care much about sort of a lot of things that we do, Tibetans do. This is what we have to keep. This is what we need to keep. This is our most important cherishable culture that we have. We have to pass that culture to our younger generation. And this because that will keep our society peace and harmony, right?
And he's starting to do that in India in the schools now, right?
Of course, in many schools, even the government school now they have the lesson that Buddhist lesson they're talking. Not today he's talking about secular ethics and secular ethics. You know that, right? Secular he's talking about that. There are many other things program going on that is his one is initiated. Even in the West, in Tibetan monks, some of which I know, they are working on a lot of textbooks that are going to be, introduced to the universities and college as well. They can learn about it, and then they become better person. At least, they don't have to become Buddhist at all. They can at least become a kinder person, compassionate, respect others. Respecting other people and respecting difference, religion and so forth. Respecting everybody. There's only one thing he always says is respect all the religion. Keep your faith in your own religion, but respect everybody because every religion is worthy of respect because they serve the interests of a lot of their followers, millions of followers. Although you might not agree with that, doesn't matter, you criticize them. You have no right to criticize them, or you don't criticize them, because they are through their whatever the teaching they are teaching, it meets the interests of a lot of people. It makes a lot of people find peace through their religion. So they are worthy of respect. That's why he goes to all the temple. Hindu church, he goes Hindu church, Muslim church, he meets other Hindu religious sadhus. They are very, they are not that easy, but they have somehow through his personality and they have become very close friends. Now they are hugging and pushing, eating together. They're like become a very close friend. So this is how it has to do with the personality, I think, and also his broad vision. And he has. So that's how he's trying to religious harmony. He's talking about, because if you look at history, religion has caused a lot of problems. A lot of people hate religion because that has caused so much problem, right? So much war and so forth. So So in so somebody who by relying on whom, if your negative karmas, negative emotions, and negative karma behavior and so forth are being reduced, and that is something that you have to rely on such person. And also somebody who introduce you all the negative karma and negative emotion is to be respected and cherished. And that if more you are able to reduce your negative emotion, negative qualities, negative karmas, and so forth, your positive karma will increase as a result, as a byproduct. And also we said the nyabala nyabala tongla, sinja nyabala tongla means nyabala nyabala tongla means you have to, since we've been studying quite some time, we know what is nyaba means, what is negative karma, what is negative emotion. Nyabala nyabala tongla. We have to nyabala nyabala tongla means this is what we say when we have a confession prayer every 15 days at the monastery. When we were at the monastery, so fully ordained monk have to get together and get. So they would say about nyabala nyabala tongla means you have to see the wrong as wrong. You have to see the negative emotion as negative emotion. You have to see the negative karma as negative karma. Nyaba means fault. Anything that is harmful, harmful such as harmful emotion, harmful actions of speech and body, are to be seen as fault. If you see that, then you won't be doing it. And change the level, then you have to you have to pledge that you won't repeat that negative emotion, negative karma again. But this is a true thing you were saying. Younger monk novice, they would come since we have taken full ordination. Younger, they will bow 3 times, and they have to say, they have a certain prayers that we have to say. At the end, we have to say, Nyabala Nyabala Tongla. We have to, as a fully ordained monk, we have to say, Nyabala Nyabala Tongla. You see the wrong fault as fault, and they would say, yes, sir. And the Chinja Labor Dollar means you would refrain from repeating it again. They would say, yes, sir. That's the way of confessing. And so I see my wrongdoing. Now I see it as a wrongdoing, and I won't do it again. That kind of confession we have to do. So this is what we have to, as a practitioner, we have to remember ourselves. We have to remind ourselves when we are doing, when we find ourselves doing wrongdoing or negative karma, we have to remind ourselves this is wrongdoing, and I should not be doing that. If somehow we have done that, we have to regret and pledge not to repeat it. Then also, so this is what he has said. As I say. So the Shinya Tamba means here spiritual teacher. We have to find a qualified teacher. We have discussed that before many times. We have when we talk about qualified teacher, we have definition of qualified teacher according to Vinaya, according to Sutrayana, according to Tantrayana. That means you have to study them and then make sure you find a qualified teacher and rely on them for your spiritual path. And also teacher, spiritual master has to be somebody who is practicing what he or she is preaching. If he or she does not practice what he or she is preaching, it is not he or she is not to be seen as qualified teacher. But somebody who is teaching or preaching, he or she should be practicing himself first, then can preach. There are a lot of people, they don't practice themselves, but they just talk about it all the time, or they preach, and that kind of person is not to be seen as qualified teacher according to the text. And that teacher has to be practicing, sincerely and correctly, and without like practice. Some people, they just show off and they act nice, they act kind, compassionate in front of people, but not in reality. They are not that kind of compassionate, when they are with themselves. Like those people cannot be seen as qualified teachers. And also, Jasonga by himself, Rang motivation to it, maybe, Sumbe Shella do it Lamate, Tomarang Gidu. Jasonga himself says, if somebody who has not been able to tame himself, herself, cannot talk about taming other people, cannot even tame other people, So, in order to be able to tame other people, tame other people's mind. You have to be able to tame your own mind. That's what I'm saying. And how our mind is to be tamed as a spiritual practitioner, or as any practitioner, you have to tame it by through the teaching, such as the teaching of the higher training in morality and meditation on single pointed meditation, and wisdom in analytical meditation, cultivating wisdom, understanding emptiness. Through this training, you have to be able to tame our mind. And these are the same thing. So you have to study the teacher and for a long time and make sure they are qualified, and then once you rely on them, you rely on them sincerely and genuinely from your heart, and rely on them to be able to practice your path. And he's only saying you have to also test me. I'm Dalai Lama doesn't mean that you don't look at the teacher whether they have high position and high name and so forth. You have to look at their wisdom, their insight into the teaching, and whether or not they are practicing the teaching. That's the main thing. And even me as a Dalai Lama, he's saying you should not have faith and just rely on me as a teacher, or see me as a teacher, a spiritual master, because I'm Dalai Lama and I'm the leader of you don't have to do that. You have to even study me, make sure I'm qualified, then you can see me as your spiritual teacher. Now next line is number 7. So this is actually talking about taking refuge to 3 jewels. But a lot of people, in many different parts of the world, I think people, rely on spirits, worshiping spirits, worshiping dakinis, sky dwellers, and also worshiping gods, the Lord, God of the landlord. Their spirits, they're also known as gods, like a mundane god, like Hindu gods. According to Buddhist teaching, they are mundane god, like Shiva, Brahman, and Lakshman. These are seen as a mundane god. They have not freed themselves from, they have not developed realization of emptiness. They have not freed themselves from the cycle, vicious cycle. So they themselves are still within the vicious cycle. So we cannot rely on them in order to achieve liberation. Of course, you can, if your goal is to just meet your temporary needs, or interest, benefit for this life, maybe you can rely on them. But if you want to rely on, if you want to have somebody to rely on, its liberation, enlightenment, they are not your refuge. In general, we said that this is true. If you are somebody seeking liberation, then you have to rely on, or if you are somebody seeking liberation, then you have to, 3 jewels are the correct refuge. Otherwise, if all you are seeking or care about the happiness of this life, you don't have to rely on 3 jewels. There are many others. Even you don't have to even become a religious person, or you don't have to believe in any religion. You can still be happy. You can have a happy life. You can be educated. You can be wealthy. You can have name, fame, position. You can enjoy a temporary, pretty good, happy life. Even the gods have happy life. Until the end of their day. Their happy life. And so that's, I have said many times. If you have to ask yourself, if you cannot really believe this liberation thing, enlightenment thing, you really don't have to worry much about these things. You just learn to be kind. And what do you call mutual respect. Be kind. Politeness and secular ethic. Practice secular ethic. You people will respect you, and you can be happy. Everybody will be happy with you. And so you have wealth and education. You can be very happy. You can enjoy love and a lot of things. So, but if you are seeking liberation from this vicious cycle and attaining enlightenment, then only the 3 jewels. Only 3 jewels can be the perfect refuge. And Jitenlai means mundane gods, though they cannot be relied on in order to achieve liberation, because they are still being tied within the cycle. They have not freed themselves from the vicious cycle. So, and then who is the qualified, third line is who is qualified refuge? And the milua means non-deceptive, incontrovertible. Makes sense? Incontrovertible, non-deceptive is the three jewels. Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha is the perfect refuge for you to rely on in order to achieve enlightenment. So that's what Bodhisattva does. Bodhisattva does not rely on any other mundane god, any other refuge. He only rely on three jewels. And even a lot of Tibetans do that. I think that we still have influence of Bon religion. Bon was our old religion, so they have so much worshipping thing. And still we have. So even my parents, my mom, dad, they believe in some kind of worshipping, some kind of spirits and so that. And she still does that. She would just burn the incense. She does that, and I don't say anything. I just she believes that she makes that. If they don't do that, they feel they get scared. They think they would harm them. It's like worshipping them, burning food for them. It's like you are feeding them. If you stop doing that, they get harmed. That's what they believe. So the spirits hanging, they just, I don't know how they are. So I have never done this. We're still okay. And but if they don't do that, they get scared. I didn't get to do that. Forgot. Oh my God, I have to do it tomorrow. They just do that. And they do that. They think they in the life they remain successful. They can help them remove obstacles and stuff like that. But we, as a monastery, most of monks, especially studying Geshes and Buddhist, they don't really believe much in that. Some maybe they do a little bit, but most of them, especially those who are very much into the philosophy, they don't do that. Because we believe in the karma. Karma is the most, we believe in karma. We believe in our own actions. We make sure we do everything right. Of course, we still make a mistake. We are still ignorant in so many respects. So, but we do our best. We believe in the karma. And Jetsongaba has praised one of the texts. It is praise to dependent arising. Text known as Tendet Tyoba. Text known as Praise to Dependent Arising, composed by Jetsongaba, is Emma Temba Emma. He said that he admires the Buddha so much. This was talking about Emma Temba Emma. He's saying Buddha Emma Ho means like a exclamation. Exclamation like, wow, you are the best. What is hurrah, right? What is hurrah?
Hooray.
Hooray, hooray, yeah, hooray. Hooray means what?
Hurrah. Yeah.
Hooray means like what?
Yay.
Yeah. It's almost like the Emma means it's like out of so much surprise, like you are the best. It's like that. So Emma, Buddha, he is referring to Buddha Shakyamuni. You are like Emma Temba, best teacher, best refuge, Emma Chap, best refuge, Emma best speaker, best protector. Attention of why? Because you have taught the dependent arising that no one has taught. No one on this earth has taught this lesson so far. That's why you are the best. You are the best teacher, best speaker, best protector, best refuge. So that's why I bow to you. Jetsongaba said that in his teaching. So then the Devajuma means dependent arising is the dependent arising. So view of dependent arising can serve as an antidote against our self-grasping mind. View of dependent arising can serve as an antidote against our self-grasping mind, or against our misconception of self and misconception of the things. And also, so also view of dependent arising can also help us develop compassion and altruism. That's what it is. And Gumbalu, that's why Gumbalu Nagarjuna says that. Nagarjuna said that same that Chanju same is one of the texts. Tadara Tongba Yedini, Najoba Gomsene, Shingitonga Chapelo, Juaju. By yogi, by practicing meditation on emptiness, this meditation on emptiness helps to increase their compassion and altruism for all living beings. So meditation on emptiness also serves as a trigger to improve or develop our compassion and loving kindness and altruism towards other beings as well. So there is no doubt about that. Nagarjuna says, if you meditate on emptiness, it can also definitely help, like earlier, Jyotsangapa says, view of dependent arising can help improve our compassion and altruism. And that's why it's only saying it as a supporting statement by Nagarjuna to what Jyotsangapa said. Similarly, Nagarjuna has said meditation on emptiness can also help develop our compassion and altruism towards all beings. And it has no, there's that happens, there's no doubt that can happen. So also developing the realization of emptiness can increase our compassion and loving kindness simultaneously with no effort, without the need of effort in cultivating compassion and altruism. If you can develop realization emptiness, that's what it is. That's why emptiness, view of emptiness is very important. So that's why he said that the Lama said that Buddha has taught, he has managed to develop understanding of the view of depending arising without being taught by anybody else. He developed that understanding by himself through his own study and meditation. And that's why he's able to teach it without having it learned from somebody else. He's able to teach it to us. That's why they pay homage and respect to Buddha. So that's why Buddha can be considered as the best teacher and best speaker, best refuge, best protector, and so forth. What time is it?
Oh, we have 10 minutes.
Oh my God, time goes by so fast. Now, let's jump. I think this is something. There are a few things talking a little bit about emptiness, but it's something I believe you know. I don't think I need to repeat it. So, so actually, main thing, true truth is mentioned in the first verses. True truth. So true truth is true truth can be seen as a summary of entire Buddhist teaching, or you can say entire Buddhist teaching can be summarized into true truth as well. And Four Noble Truths can also be summarized into true truth as well. These are a big, major, important point that we need to understand and remember. And that's how we can summarize. Okay, true teaching. Buddhist, what is the best thing we have, best lesson, best teaching we have is true truth. Talking about true truth and Four Noble Truths. These are and view of dependent arising. These are the most important Buddhist philosophy we have. Dependent arising that you cannot find in others. In true truth, talking about true truth, and Four Noble Truths. These are the more ending links of dependent ordination, and so forth. And of course, we have 37 practice. 37 practice of the Bodhisattva path. This is not the different one. 37 practice to enlightenment, I think. This is practiced by both Theravada and Mahayana. For mindfulness, for for perfect abandonment, for miraculous, remember? Eight noble path. There are 37, you know. And especially these days, for mindfulness has become very popular. For mindfulness meditation, they call it. Today they talk about mindfulness meditation, mindfulness parenting, mindfulness leadership, you know, so many things. Mindfulness practices has become so. These are mostly, I think, they picked that up from the Theravada school, Burmese monk, and so forth. So it has been used as as a method to calm our mind, relieve our stress, and so forth. And mindfulness meditation or practice have become like an industry today. It's become business, you know. And they have picked mostly the first two to meditation, mindfulness, meditation on mindfulness, focusing on doing the same body and feeling. Now, we have four mindfulness meditation on focusing on body, feeling, so mind, and phenomena. But these days, mostly more popular it has become is like a mindfulness focusing on body and feeling. These are more practiced throughout the world, you know, because this is, you know, it's focusing on feelings of the body and so forth. Anyway, so these are also, you know, one important Buddhist topic. But there are other way the mindfulness and this Eight Noble, they're a little bit different. But of course, we have Tibetan Buddhists have not taken as a priority practice, you know, priority practice. It has not been taken as a main practice. The Tibetan Buddhist practice focus more on the view of emptiness, view of dependentizing, you know, cultivation of compassion and altruism. You know, we focus on these things. We have not focused much on these things, but these things can be practiced even before entering the five path, also even after entering the five path as well. So there are so many detailed explanation of these practices. But what you find in the throughout the world, even especially in the West, meditation, mindfulness meditation, is just the very, very basic thing they are talking about, focusing on body and feeling. And of course, not focusing much on some they do, but mainly these two things I've been studying what they're doing, and that's what I find out. Anyway, so this is what I say. So if I go by this last, now I'm not going to finish it. So I have to go. So let me go to the next one. Now I will explain the thing. I meant to also discuss about it and let everybody say something about it, but then time goes by so fast. So next is what? Next verse is what?
Unbearable suffering of the lower realms that Buddha taught.
Yes. Let's finish this one, then we'll stop. Shindo seking yaso dongena dibelege devo to beson te sola baji mingile maya meche jatsi lali. So Shindo seking yaso dongena means unbearable suffering experienced by beings in the lower realm. Yaso means lower realm, such as hell realm, hungry ghosts, animal. They are the product of our bad dibelege, means bad karma, negative karma. And this is what Buddha said. So this is, you know, when we talk about the knowledge, we're talking about three different things: manifest phenomena, and hidden phenomena, and extremely hidden phenomena. Three things: manifest phenomena. These are the manifest phenomena. Everything we can see it. What is this? Is laptop. This is bell. This is book. And this is, you know, Tracy. This is crystal. We can see this. We can see these things with our own eyes. These are easy to. So, but there are a lot of hidden phenomena. Not hidden phenomena that are to be understood. That are to be understood by relying on logic or reasoning. You know, hidden phenomena. And then the third one is extremely hidden phenomena, such as, you know, talking about how the karma works. You know, these are very seen as hidden phenomena. These can only be understood by means means these scriptural authority. That makes sense. Scriptural authority. What do you understand by that? Scriptural authority.
Valid,
Scriptural authority.
scriptural.
Coming from the Buddha's words.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
like,
Valid.
yeah, based on Buddha's words. These are
Reliable, valid.
reliable, valid statement by somebody who is reliable,
Mhm.
who is qualified, who knows about it. Like so that's why you see suffering being experienced by beings in the lower realm are the product of negative karma, is said by Buddha, not by anybody else. So so this is that's what it happens, because this is to be it is seen as a understanding this fact is seen as a extremely hidden phenomena. So it is to be understood as a fact by relying on Buddha's own words, you know, knowing or thinking or seeing him as enlightened being, you know. So that's why it's scriptural authority was that's what is Lung, Buddha's own statement. Like for example, when we are really,
Like faith.
yeah, it requires some kind of faith or trust, like doctor, when we go to see doctor, we don't know the whole body issues, right? So we have certain things we can figure out and even get medication on the counter and get it and eat, we can okay, we can do some other treatment as well, natural treatment we can get over. But there are certain diseases we cannot find out what it is, so we have to rely on the doctor. Not just certain more complicated disease, we have to rely on the best doctor, right? The specialist, so they can find out. They whatever they say, we don't know it is true or not, but we believe what they say. We believe and we take their advice and we take their treatment, whatever treatment they advise or they suggest. We take their treatment, we do their treatment, get the treatment out of faith, out of belief, out of trust, thinking that they are doctor and they know not just they are specialist. They know better. I should listen to them. So I have to, do the treatment. Well, nobody wants to get treatment or do the surgery and so forth, but they have no choice. They have to trust them to get rid from that disease. So similarly, there's a lot of facts that we cannot understand. They are so extremely hidden phenomena. So we have to rely on somebody who have the wisdom to see that and understand that, and who says about that. That's what called Lung Tempa means, scripture authority. This is a translation I see. We call Lung means Buddha's own words. Lung. Buddha has said so like that. It's not that my mother said that or father said that. So there's just all about Miguel. So even though in the case of your own risking your own life, you don't commit negative karma. There's just all about Miguel means negative karma. You don't create or commit negative karma, even in the case of losing your own life. That's this is what Bodhisattva does. Bodhisattva will not commit negative karma, even that can cost their own life. Makes sense? They are rather die than committing negative karma, because they think committing negative karma is worse than dying or losing their life, because it can take them to the lower realm and experience suffering, unbearable suffering. So is it time we have now?
Yeah.
Okay, time up.
Yeah, it's 1 o'clock.
Okay. Any questions? So this is actually talking about the practice of the person with small mental scope. This line is talking person with small mental scope, and okay, the brief explanation, 5 more minutes. It's here is talking about cause and effect, karma. You create negative karma, the result you will reborn into a lower rebirth and experience unbearable suffering. So according to Lama teaching, and as a Buddhist, as a practitioner of the lower person with the, when the person with lowest mental scope practice Buddha's teaching, they do the practice. They practice Buddha's teaching in order to achieve better rebirth. So that they don't go to the lower rebirth. So that's why for that they have to chima means they have to they cannot always be concerned about the well-being of this life. They have to also be concerned about the well-being of their next life as well. And then in order to make sure they will have a better fortune rebirth, they have to practice the teaching. And what teaching? Usually you say in Lamrim teaching, you have, I believe you know, of course, importance of understanding the preciousness of precious human rebirth and so forth, and it's the best time to practice Dharma. And then Shomita, remembering the life being impermanent, Shomita. And then when we die, what happens? We can go down. Nobody can be sure that one cannot go down or will have continuously future rebirth. We don't have anybody have confidence. Cannot say 100% that I will not go down. I will go. I will continue to have human rebirth. Nobody has that confidence or assurance or insurance. So, then that's why importance of meditating on impermanence or reflecting or contemplating on impermanence, and then be concerned about the ngendodunga. If we go down, achieve lower rebirth, how much suffering we will have. Reflect that we take, then who we take refuge? We take refuge to three jewels, Then three jewels will teach us how to follow the karma, respecting karma and abiding by the principle of law of cause and effect and so forth. If you do that, then we, by doing that, we avoid committing 10 negative karma and commit 10 positive karma. As a result, we have a better rebirth. So there's a refuge, and then teaching, following the karma, and then as a result we have a better rebirth. So here they are concerned about only in general, in samsara we talk about three different suffering. Suffering change, pervasive suffering. But the practitioner who are concerned only about the next life, their concern is their suffering. They're only concerned about the suffering of suffering. They don't worry about suffering of change and suffering, pervasive suffering. They only worry about, experiencing suffering of suffering. They're okay with suffering of change. They're okay with pervasive suffering. just kidding. There are many things. These are things you will know. I think you will understand. This is not very difficult. I don't need to repeat. Okay. I think I'll stop here. I don't know why I cannot.
Thank you.
Thank you. It never hurts to hear these things repeated. Our habitual propensities are very strong to.
Yeah.
Really? Okay, good.
Yeah, always very good. Very
Good. Any question? Anybody have any questions? If we have 5 more minutes, any question, then I can stop. Anybody, if anybody has any questions? No one has question on the Zoom. Okay. Everybody, these are simple, but it's good to remind, I think, that we continuously behave better, be nicer and be kinder and so forth. Okay. Next class, I will definitely run much more faster. And I'm hoping I can finish it in the next class. And my time is running out, so I have to finish it.
You go. Yeah, you go.
I will just go. I will not go. Maybe I cannot go by the explanation. I have to just go by the words explanation by myself, and then maybe ask question a couple of times. And then if anybody has question, then I will go faster. Otherwise, I will. Even I go by this one, I'm not going to finish it. So, and then certain things, if explanation here, the Lama says, if I don't explain a little bit further, I feel like you won't get complete idea. He hasn't said it completely. He said few things, and if I said it does not seem like complete for some of you, so that's why I have to explain it. So then when I do that, then sometimes maybe I'm doing it more than enough, or sometimes it takes time. So they just time runs out very fast. So anyway, so next time I will definitely try to finish it. We have almost half of it. I will rush faster. I will just explain the meaning of the words just by myself, and ask a couple of questions each time. That's it, and I will try to finish it because my time is running out. So I have to finish it soon. All right. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Lama Passang.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lamala.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Are we on? Thank you, Lama Passang.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. What is that? I don't know. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Lama.
Oh, thanks.
Thank
Actually,
you, Lama.
Thank you. Thank you.
it's quite helpful to hear the whole first scope just
Yeah.
done very quickly.
There's a young man. What is your name? What is your name? He's like a monk or something. What is your name? What's his name?
Oh, me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, no, my name is Henry. How you doing?
Henry, hi.
Yes. Hi.
Good. How are you?
Great, doing great, doing great.
Is it
Love
first time
it.
you are coming to Buddhist class?
Yes, yes, it is.
Oh, okay. Did you like it or you got bored?
No, I loved it. I loved it.
I'm glad you like it. Oh, you're welcome. I meant to say that, but I forgot.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was great. I mean, I had been wanting to join. I had actually been wanting to go in person. It's just that I live kind of far away, so
You live,
it's a little.
you live in San Antonio?
No, I do not. I live like maybe about 2 hours away. So.
Oh, far, yeah.
That's fun.
So I see. You look a little bit like a Tibetan too.
Oh, thank you.
We have a monk like you because I see your hair is very short. So we
Right.
have monk look like you.
Okay, that's
Honestly,
great.
yeah. And you look like a big guy too.
Thanks. Yeah. Well,
Very, very
it's
good.
yeah, definitely all the vegan food that I've eaten.
What make you come to class though? What triggers?
Well, I mean, actually, I've been wanting to join like a sangha for a long time. I mean, most of the studying that I've been doing has been on my own for about 2 years now, and it's like I just been wanting to reach out somewhere or another, and this was just perfect timing with the COVID and everything that happened.
I know. COVID is driving us crazy, huh?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if I would have found this, this Zoom, or
Yeah.
we would even been able to use the Zoom platform as efficiently as we do now
Right.
to be able to connect, which is great.
So are you been married or are you single?
Oh well, I'm